I want to see the students in the classroom. And that is why I'm calling on the teacher unions to cease strike escalation and return to the bargaining table with this deal in mind, to get a deal, to provide predictability for parents, to end this impasse, and do what's right for our kids.
The Ontario government says the ball is now in the teachers' union's court. Education Minister Stephen Lecce there announcing a bit earlier they're walking back two of their plans for the province's high schools. First, those proposed mandatory online courses will now be optional, and the government is offering an average class size of 23 students, up from 22, but down significantly from their initial proposal of 28. The province is standing firm, though, on its 1% wage increase versus the 2% sought by unions. So will these concessions bring the unions back to the table? Harvey Bischoff is the president of the Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation. He joins us from Toronto. Hi, Mr. Bischoff. Nice to see you again. Thanks for your time.
Good evening.
So let me just frame it the way that Minister Lecce did and then get your response. He says they've decided to change the maximum average class size to 23 students in secondary schools, and you can opt out, essentially, if your parents want you to, of the e-learning program. In exchange, you'll have to keep wages and benefits to 1% and make concessions on a regulation that allows for seniority-based hiring. Are you amenable to that?
So, you know, the interesting part is you said that he was making this announcement to get us back to the bargaining table. We were actually at the bargaining table today when, instead of making these proposals there, he once again went to a podium and did this via a press conference. He should put these things on paper, should pass them across the table at the bargaining table where we actually were this afternoon, with not even a courtesy heads up from him that he was going to do this again. If he does that, we'll have an opportunity to negotiate, but instead, he does this as a stunt.
So let me get this straight. So you were at the union was at the negotiating table with the province. Were you negotiating over a whole different set of terms? Like, was the province putting forward different things than they're saying to the public right now?
We were in exploratory discussions, and they had explicitly not made a single formal proposal to us over the last 2 days. It was a matter of sort of feeling out areas where there might be opportunities for progress, asking questions of clarification and so forth. But they didn't put these proposals to us at the bargaining table, which, is problematic in itself, but it especially makes it unclear what the details of them are.
If they do, on the basis of what we've heard so far, if there is a piece of paper that's written on and pushed across the table to the union, on the face of it, is this a position that you can negotiate with?
It's going to give us an opportunity for some serious discussions, and I appreciate that it certainly has a veneer of reasonableness. Losing something well over 1,000 teachers compared to last year certainly appears more reasonable than losing the 10,000 they originally announced. The mandatory opt-out e-learning is still very unclear. Is it still a class size of 35 students as they've been proposing all along? Are they still proposing the elimination of any cap on any individual class size, because that's a proposal they put forward? So these things should be tabled. We'll have an opportunity for discussion. And
is there more discussion scheduled right now?
We're actually just in the process of trying to find that out. Unfortunately, this afternoon's discussions got blown up by the fact that, once again, the minister decided to make his proposals through a press conference rather than at the bargaining table.
For parents who are watching, the framing again from the minister was, here's what I'm putting forward to stop the escalation in strike activity. For parents who are watching, what should they expect from your union where that's concerned?
That we will negotiate at any opportunity, but what we will do is maintain in mind exactly what parents already told this government through their own consultations that the government tried to hide for a year, consultations that finally got released against the government's wishes last week, and demonstrated parents don't want bigger class sizes, they don't want mandatory e-learning, and that's what we've had in mind all along. It's the exact opposite of what the minister has had in mind, and it's taken a significant time to get him even close to listening to what parents themselves told him.
At this stage, though, do plans stand for strike activities, that kind of thing?
We have action scheduled in various districts on Thursday. We have repeatedly offered to postpone those actions if the ministry would commit to last year's staffing levels. Just the status quo to the quality of education we were able to deliver just last year, and they have never made that commitment. And even now, they're still talking about, as I said, well over 1,000 fewer teachers than last year.
So that doesn't equate to you as a commitment. The average class size is 23. That's not enough, you're saying?
It's not the same as last year's staffing ratios. Bear in mind as well, there has been a significant loss in education workers who support high needs and at-risk students. They're not talking about restoring the funding for those education workers even this year. So students all this year, the kids who are most vulnerable, most need supports, have gone without them, and the government's saying you need to wait until September till there's even the chance of that being restored.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks very much, Mr. Bischoff. Appreciate your time as always.
Thank you.
Harvey Bischoff, president of the Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation. Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.